Chapter 5 The Mission 2100 hours. Coop connected with CP1 through his neural net and said, 42, Lockheed's place in 15 minutes. Coop out. CP1, how much sightseeing can we do in 15 minutes? Asked 42. Coop doing about 70 miles an hour through the streets of Brooklyn caught up with the car in no time. It looks like he's headed towards the Brooklyn Bridge, said Lockheed. There they are. They're getting away, said Lockheed. They reached the Brooklyn Bridge. Coop pulled out his gun and shot at the car ahead of him. 5 armor-piercing shots were fired. The third shot hit the gas tank, exploding on impact. The other 2 were just overkill. Coop drove right through the wreckage. Coop pulled out a manila folder from his black leather trench coat and gave it to Lockheed. I got this from the club's office files. See what you can make of it. Lockheed took the files in her hand and rested it on her lap. She opened the folder. Damn. It can't get any neater than this. It's all the records they have on the girl. Here's a picture. Pretty, said Lockheed, admiring the picture. Coop drove on, admiring the view of New York, remembering when he was here last. He noticed all of the changes. He turns on the radio and switches it to a popular AM news station. A woman's voice comes over the air. The United States Congress prohibits aid to counter-revolutionary Contras in Nicaragua. Members of President Reagan's administration, including Oliver North, tried to obtain money for the Contras through arms sales to Iran. Team of chemists led by Richard E. Smalley, U.S., discovers a new family of carbon molecules they call fullerenes. The spherical cage-like molecules typically consist of 60 carbon atoms and constitute an entirely distinct form of carbon. In other news, click. Coop turns off the radio. 21,500 hours. Coop and Lockheed sits on the sofa, engaged in polite conversation, sipping martinis in Lockheed's apartment. When 42 walks in, he starts to take off his leather trench coat. What's up, said 42. Coop looks up, lifting his glass to 42. 42, you and CP1 will go to this address. Pausing to take a sip of his martini. Take out the generator, said Coop. Be careful. She killed every man she slept with, Lockheed stated. She's not from this planet. Her DNA structure makes her the only one that can She paused to take a drink of her martini. Generate the mind bender. We believe she's here against her will, so bring her back alive. She should be alone once you get in. 21,100 hours. 42 in CP1 was flying through the streets of New York in his badass sports car. 42 said, I'll get there, but not before a couple of races. 42 stops at a red light. CP1, what is that address again? CP1 pulled up a map from his database. A reverse view of a map of New York City is projected onto the front windshield of the car. Meanwhile, back at Lockheed's apartment, so Coop, maybe we can find something to do to pass the time, Lockheed suggested while draped seductively over a huge hi-fi entertainment center, shaking her tight little ass in that leather miniskirt as she threw on some cool jazz. Coop, appearing very relaxed, asked out loud, what do you have in mind? She then walked over to Coop, swinging her hips from side to side with every step she takes. Every move she makes is a sign or a signal suggesting sex. I've heard about you, she said. They say you're from Earth. I've also heard you had a sex chip implanted into your matrix system, and you have a MXT-250 interrogation dick. As she approached Coop, he uncrossed his legs. She put her right knee in Coop's crotch and proceeded to remove his trench coat. Coop was not having it. He thought to himself, I'm on a mission. Lockheed, seemingly frustrated, straightened up, removing her knee from Coop's crotch and two steps back with her hand on her hips. Her butt hiked up, revealing her ass cheeks and her red silk panties. Asked, why don't you get out of that uniform and interrogate me? She moves in closer as she removes her right breast from her white tank top, pulling the shirt down so that her firm breast can be totally out. With her right hand, she puts her left index finger in her mouth with a stroking motion. She then proceeded to circle her nipple in Coop's face. She said, your boy is going to be out for a long while. Coop, now very much into the beautiful firm breast before him, hesitated to reply, you don't know 42. She took 2 steps back. With her hands on her hips, arched her back, and stuck out her tits. She got a nice ass, Coop thought to himself. Her black leather miniskirt is hiked up in the back to reveal her sexy butt cheeks, wrapped in tight red panties. Coop just sat there, not saying a word. 22 1000 hours. 42 loved to street race. Whenever he finds someone in front of him, he tries to get in front of them and stay in front of them until they make their turn. And if you're in front of them after they made their turn, then you win the race. Now that should be the end of it, but it's sometimes hard for 42 to just let it go. He takes it as a knockout. He always uses his race line, so when the other drivers see him going from lane to lane, they either think he's drunk, crazy, or trying to fuck with them just to piss them off or something. 42 tried to get the other drivers to make a mistake like speeding, running to a pole, anything so the cops can get on them. When 42 arrived at Quincy Avenue, he parked the Italian sports car in front of the building, a four-story walk-up that was remodeled in the early 70s. He turned the music up so high it caused some car alarms to go off. He allows the car to idle for a couple of minutes and rev the engine. He walked into the building and up the stairs. He looked down the hall and noticed two guards. Great, two guards. I don't want to make too much noise. He pulled out a piece of paper and what looked like a pen. He walked up to the two guards. Hey fellas, maybe you can help me. I'm looking for room 308. Get the hell out of here, the agitated guard shouted at 42. Excuse me? What? Said 42. 42 pointed the pen at the guard on the right, pressed a button on the side of the pen, and shot him in the ear with a laser beam at a 35-degree angle that went right through the brain to the back of his head, burning the wall behind him. Witnessing this, the other guard was in shock. Oh shit, said the one guard. 42 noticed the other guard pulling out his piece from his vest holster from inside his suit jacket and punched him out before he had time to draw. Both guards had been taken out, said 42 to himself. One at a time, 42 drugged their lifeless bodies to a nearby utility closet. Then he shot both of them twice in the head to make sure they're dead, as he robbed them of all their cash and jewelry and closed the closet door. 42 went into his coat pocket and pulled out CP1, who was made to look like a simple television remote control unit. He started pressing buttons, entering codes, and accessing the floor plans of the building. He entered more codes, and now CP1 a tricorder. 42. I'm reading two life forms coming from the next room, said CP1. Yes, I see them, said 42. One of them is off the scale, said CP1. This way, said 42. The time is 1000 hours, said CP1. The energy reading is so high because Rico is using the emerald as we speak, said CP1. 42. You must keep it charged until 0200 hours. I'll keep you posted. 42 went into the room. He notices a couple going at it on a queen-size bed. The guy on top, screaming in agony. He got scratches on his back. The scratches on his back were gushing blood. The woman pulling him down on her is draining him of all of his life force. 42 steps in and snatches the man off of the woman and said, "Go to sleep, motherfucker," before snapping the man's neck, throwing the body on the floor. The girl still needs sex. She was out of control, kicking and screaming like she's possessed. Grabbing 42, she starts ripping off his coat. The coat was hard to get off. She threw him on the bed. Bracing himself to the edge of his bed, he used his elbows to keep himself from falling completely into the bed. She jumps on top of him and starts to hump him through his uniform pants. This is not working. She then gets down on her hands and knees and starts to pull down his pants. He pushes her off of him. "Get off me," he said. He got up off the bed. He had one hand out, trying to force her off of him. "Hold on, baby, I can undress myself." He then looked around the room to see if he can spot the mind bender. He spotted it in the corner, a glow. It was in a glass case. CP1 said to 42, "You must break the case. Get the mindbender generator and knock out the girl. Once the girl is knocked out, the mindbender generator will go off and Rico will then know something is wrong. And then we will have precious little time." 42 done just that. He broke the case and knocked the girl out with a stun pellet. Just then, two guards was relieving the other two guards' shift. As they walked into the room, CP1 beeped 3 times. Beep, beep, beep. Then a voice came from 42's coat pocket. 42 took the mindbender generator, which was a baseball size, and stuffed it into his pocket. He then noticed the guys coming in the room. He set his blaster to armor piercing and shot several shots through the door, killing the two guards. One that was sitting on the couch reading a newspaper and the other one that was trying to open the door. 42 slung the woman over his shoulder and ran out of the room, out the apartment, down the hall, and then down the stairs, out to his car, and burned rubber down the street as he left the neighborhood. Once 42 seen the coast was clear, he slowed down a little so not to be stopped by the cops. He was surprised at how smooth his mission was going. He turned on the radio and enjoyed the music of Earth as he made his way to Lockheed's apartment. 024500 hours. Lockheed was peering out of the window in the nude. Coop was sitting on the bed sniffing coke. Lockheed tells Coop of her ongoing fight with Rico. It was hard, she said with an angry look on her face. Rico and his black magic must be stopped. That motherfucker destroyed my whole army. He had one squad take out each other. Coop intervenes. It's not magic. They are artifacts, you see. They have extraordinary mind-wielding powers. It's called the Mind Bender and the Mind Bender Generator. Without this device, the Mind Bender will fail to function. Our operative is Lockheed. There's no picture of him. All we have is an address in the Bronx. I want to be in and out, Coop said repeatedly, out loud, until Lockheed decided to snap him out of his repetition banter. Coop, snap out of it, said Lockheed, patting Coop on the back. What? He uttered as he sniffed some more coke from a small box he had in his hand. Lockheed turns to look out the window again. She's still completely nude, standing in the window as the sweat glistens off her slim, sexy body. Coop, you're from Earth. Don't you want to spend some time taking in the sights? She asked with a conniving tone. Coop being slightly angry from being interrupted by her repeated, no, I'm on a mission. 030900 hours. 42 arrives at Lockheed's apartment with the girl. Coop is standing off to the side of the door with his blaster out ready for anything or anybody. There's a knock on the door. Lockheed opens the door. It's 42 and the girl. She lets them in. Coop disarms. The red pointer on the tip of the gun goes out. He holsters his weapon. 42 start to take off his coat. The girl sticking very close to him, for he was the only person she knew. She seemed to have lost her memory. The girl helps 42 take off his coat. Coop intervenes Don't get too comfy, 42. We're out of here. Lockhead, get ready to leave this planet. Coop walks to the door and out of the apartment. 42 puts his coat back on and heads out of the apartment after him. 5300 hours. Coop and 42 make it to the Brooklyn Bridge. The stench of burning rubber was still in the air. Fire trucks, police squad, cars, news vans, and helicopters is all clamoring around the scene, scratching their heads, trying to make out what happened. Coop hitting speeds of 90 miles an hour across the bridge. He gets off the bridge and makes a left turn and hits the accelerator of the exciting midnight blue Italian sports car. Coops said, "We better get to the warehouse before Rico uses the M road and finds out that it's not working. He's going to want to know why." They turned onto a dark road. As they crossed a small bridge, Coop admired the full moon shimmering on the water. Coop speaks to CP1. CP1, have you come up with a prime location where Rico might turn up? There is a warehouse on Grand Street where a lot of traffic from some of his large accounts is going, said CP1. 42, see if you can find out the fastest way there, said Coop. 42 pulls out a small device from his coat pocket. He taps in the address on the map of New York City, appears on a small LCD screen on the device. We should take Grand Avenue to Grand Street, said 42. They are not too far from the site. 3400 hours. Here we are. 42, ditch the car and meet me at the north wall, said Coop. When 42 got to the warehouse, Coop was entering the range on a Federation-issued anti-gravity device. What's that? 42 asked, with his back to the wall and his gun drawn. He was ready for anything. It's a new toy. This. It goes by weight. This device degravitates the area at a 10-foot radius. Coop points the device into the air and fires it. Pshoo was the sound of the device, made as a sharp, barbed object with a cable attached flew to the roof of the warehouse. It makes a hole right through the 6-inch concrete at the top of the building. At the top of the roof, Coop pulls out these high-tech binoculars. CP1, give me a status on the warehouse. Beep. 95 bodies, 450 Uzi 9mm machine guns, and clips, 50 Glocks 9mm. CP1, how many are strapped? Coop asks as he interrupts CP1. 52, says CP1. Thank you, said Coop as He continued to look through the binoculars, the limelight from the high-tech binoculars shining on his face. Coop notices a group of lights on Grand Street with his high-tech binoculars. He zooms in on the fanciest limo and sees Rico as a passenger in the back seat. Here he comes, we're on. There were 3 limos in all. 2 were ordinary limos, you know, black, shiny, and bulletproof. The last one was an older model. It looked German made. It was silver and chrome with running boards and spare tire on either side. There were 6 pipes, 3 on each side protruding from the engine panel. The cockpit was convertible and the top was down and the back was totally bulletproof. The limos rolled past the guard gate and pulled up in front of the warehouse and came to a complete stop. Rico gets out of the fancy limo along with 2 guards and his accountant. One of my clubs in Brooklyn was hit. The mind bender is out, said Rico, as his guard and his accountant walked into the warehouse. Rico takes the elevator to his office on the 6th floor of the 6-story building. Once in his office, the door is closed and 2 guards are placed outside the door. Ready my ship. Close all of my accounts, said Rico, as he shouted orders to his accountant and his top guard. Suddenly, out of nowhere, the 2 guards outside the office was hit with a smoke bomb. Oh shit, one of the guards said as he starts to pull out his gun from his vest holster. But he was too late. The gas had already started to take effect. 42 trained in the art of stealth guerrilla combat on Doorless 4 swooped in on the guard just as he started to pull out his gun and snapped his neck. Just as the first guard looked to see, Coop smashed his face in with a right roundhouse kick, taking out an eye in the process. In the whole 5 seconds there was little noise, maybe a couple of thumps as the bodies hit the floor. Coop and 42 waited at the door, then nothing. Rico heard the noise, ordered his top guard, Mascot, see what's going on out there. Right, boss, said Mascot. May I go? Asked the accountant standing in the corner with his stainless steel briefcase clenched tightly in his hand, looking scared. As soon as Mascot opened the door, bam, kaboom, Mascot the guard was kicked to the other side of the room. Rico looks down at his top guard laying on the floor beside his desk. Shit, guards, guards. Rico yells for guards as Coop fires a plasma beam from CP1 disguised as what looks like a remote control device for the TV at him. This incapacitated him. Rico falls back into his desk, lands on the money and drugs. Rico looks as if he was having a heart attack, grasping at his chest and foaming coming from his mouth. Coop reached over Rico and, while grabbing the emerald from around his neck that he had on a big gold chain, Coop pulled Rico towards him and whispered into his ear, "Hey you, motherfucker, wake up." Rico catches his breath, but he is still incapacitated. Coop says, "You haven't seen me." Coop then looks around at the accountant and said, "You can go if you want to." The accountant said, "Thanks. Thank you." 42 is standing guard outside of the office, ready for anything. 42 signals to Coop. He's taken a long time. "Coop, let's go. We're clear." Thinks he hears someone coming. "Oh shit, somebody's coming. I got to take them out," he said to himself. 42 notices a guard coming down the hallway. 42 just walked up to the guard and pistol whips him with the blaster. He then drags the body into an open room and shoots the guard twice in the head to make sure he's dead. "You can stay right there. You won't need this," said 42 as he robbed the guard of his jewelry and cash. Coop comes out of the office and notices that no alarm has been raised. So they still have time to make it out alive with the emerald. With his back to the wall, Coop peeks around the corner. "Damn," he says as he sees 3 guards standing in the stairway. One is leaning against the wall, smoking a cigarette. "There goes our exit. We got to get out of here. CP1, give me a floor plan of the building." "Beep, working," said CP1. 42 got his back with his blaster ready. Coop receives a 3-dimensional floor plan of the 6-story warehouse on his neural net. Coop orders 42 to use his laser weapon on the 3 guards standing there by the stairwell. "Don't give them time to shoot. I'll take the first 2 out. You'll take the last." "Halt," said Coop. Coop's Panasonic brain calculates the precise movement to attack. 42 adjusted his laser weapon to high power. When Coop gave the order to attack, 42 jumped out from around the corner. The guard see him and prepare to fire on him when 42 opens up on the three guards, firing his laser weapon and, like a surgeon slicing and dicing, the guards are down in many pieces. They move on to the stairwell. 42 had since put away his laser weapon and pulled out his blaster. They carefully walk down the stairwell with Coop leading the way, still reading the floor plans downloaded into his Panasonic brain. CP1 ended transmission. "We're almost there," said Coop. They got to the bottom of the stairwell when Coop learned that the loading bay doors that he'd seen on the floor plan was not there. In a loud, angry voice, cries, "There's supposed to be a door there." "CP1, we need a door." "Beep." "Working," said CP1. "Powering up," said CP1 as he pulled together the rest of his power he had stored in the small device. A red light on CP1's panel changed from red to green. "I will meet you guys back at the ship." 42, irritated by the conversation of Coop and CP1, said a little bit louder now, "I don't think they heard you in the back." "Rico have changed this room into a drug packing factory. There are at least 8 tables full of drugs. There's women stripped down to their panties packing the drugs. There are guards everywhere." A guard spotted Coop and 42 standing at the door. He pointed at them hysterically from the catwalk and waving to the other guards, signaling, "Over here," and shouts, "Intruder!" Coop shoots him in the head before he was able to finish. Boof! 42 kicks over one of the tables, made of heavy metal, for protection. As the bullets flew, Coop splattered the guard's brains all over the wall. Boof, 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 boof. Rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat. Boof, 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 boof. Rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat. The gunplay lasted a little more than 10 seconds. The room was all smoky. There are people running everywhere. 42, clear the way, said Coop. 42 looks at Coop with a devilish look on his face and said, "Right." 42 pulls out a grenade, equipped with a built-in timer. He set the timer and tossed the grenade into the crowd. The grenade exploded with a crackling boom. The blast is so strong it shakes the room. There was a quick flash. It is not too loud. It all ended up in a mushroom cloud. The room was still as the smoke cleared. All of the dead bodies gave Coop the chills. The body parts were everywhere. 42 holstered his blaster like he didn't care. Coop pulls out the device from his coat pocket and fires an electric pulse beam at the far wall. Ink! The beam hits the wall. Kaboom! It knocks a large hole into the wall with a big explosion. Bricks and cinder blocks go flying everywhere. More guards came from out of nowhere and starts firing at Coop and 42. Coop fires about 4 or 5 shots into the crowd of guards and turns to make a mad dash towards the hole in the wall. Coop keeps 42 covered as 42 jumps through the hole in the wall and heads to the car. Coop felt something strange about the guards, so he switched to infrared vision to take a better look. He's shocked by what he finds. He thinks to himself, hologram, someone is high tech. 3 men are real. Record, he orders his Panasonic brain. He looks closer at the 3 men. Rangers, what the fuck? Coop's facial appearance changed from confusion to anger. His eyes are now bloodshot red. His pupils recede as his eyeballs light up to a lime green. Coop makes a run for it as he lays down cover fire. But he knows it's useless. Ranger seems to dodge bullets and they're fast. Ah, shit. Coop is hit in the left arm. The blast lifts him off his feet, taking his arm completely off. His blaster falls out of his hand as his arm goes flying across the room. He lands on his back, 5 feet from the point of impact. It's his arm. He looks at his arm lying behind him on the floor near a big hole in the wall. He looks at the damage done to the remaining parts of his arm. Sparks are popping from the exposed wires and cables. Oh, fucking great, man. Shit, shit, shit. Coop picks up his arm and his blaster and makes a mad dash towards the big hole in the wall. Laying down cover fire on the way out. Coop jumps into the car 42 has waiting with the motor running. Drive, drive. 42 took off towards the front gate. The car is ready for anything and 42 wanted to show off his driving skills. Drive, drive, we got cops. Who called the cops? We also got rangers, said Coop. They fucked up. The cops are on our ass, Coop said in an angry voice. 42 said, okay. 42 then put the car in auto drive. CP1 mapped out an escape route. 42 started punching in some codes on what seemed to be the radio with a 4-inch screen. A map of Brooklyn appeared on the screen. 05:20 hours. They made it to the FDR Drive, passed all of the traffic at 90 miles an hour. When they exited the tunnel at 88th Street, 42 pressed a few more buttons on the in-dash device. Just then, smoke and green sparks started to shoot from the wheelbarrow. Hydraulics in the front of the car lifted the front of the car high into the air, and then the Italian sports car took off like a rocket into the East River. While in the air, Coop summoned the pods by remote. The pods arrived in time at the point of impact 200 feet from the FDR. The two men traveled to open waters near Coney Island. Coop on the comlink to the spacecraft. Gamma 4 to Terra 7. We have visual. Coop out. The two pods fly out of the water and is picked up by their spacecraft at the rendezvous point via an intense bright light. The ship takes off at high speeds towards the Horsehead Nebula. Once they hit quadrant G7, they immediately engaged the warp drive and was out.